Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to some Go Battle League. Today I'm going to be showcasing a very strong team that I've been using for the last couple of days, and has got me very close to veteran rank. This team is Pelipper, Diggersby and Charjabug. If you're looking to make a push in Summer Cup, I highly recommend this team. It's been working very well for me. I seen that today or yesterday, Yonkis uploaded this team as well. He noticed a lot of people in the high elo range were using this team. I believe this team was originally used by Chesnaught, so shout out to him for the team. And I myself have noticed that a lot of people at high elos are using this. Pelipper is just quite underrated in this cup actually. So the thing that, the question that people ask me sometimes is, why would you use Pelipper instead of Mantine? I think in this cup in particular, whenever you're choosing between Mantine and Pelipper, the choice you're making is between bulk and high damage, but you're also choosing between water damage and flying damage. If you want faster flying damage, you go for Mantine. If you want spammy water damage, you go for Pelipper. In this particular meta, the spamminess of Pelipper works out quite well, because there are a lot of Diggersbys, there are a decent amount of fire types, and generally speaking, Pelipper was quite surprising in how well it performed. You have the massive nuke potential in Hurricane, which just does so much damage to basically anything. So this team's been showcased already, I've been using it, it's been very successful, and what I basically want to do in today's video is to showcase a lot of the different matchups. If you guys are thinking of using this team, and if you want like a greater insight into it, I'm going to try my best to show some sort of interesting matchups, and give you guys an idea of how to play this team. Guys, drop a like in the video, subscribe, and let's hop into it. So this matchup right here is one of the most awkward matchups. Kingdra lead typically comes with something like a Toxapex, Jellicent sometimes Lickitung. It's a bit of an awkward lead, because this thing technically can beat your whole team. In the 1 or 2 times that I beat this Pokemon, I baited the Weller Ball first and then went for the Hurricane second. The one thing that's worth keeping in mind is, believe it or not, this thing actually beats Pelipper at CMP, which was news to me. So in this case here, I got both of the opponent's shields. If you successfully bait with Weller Ball, you can still get to a Hurricane. When it comes onto Obstagoon, I pause the turn, and then I swap into Diggersby. I should have went for Discharges here. I didn't realize, like, I'd never faced this Pokemon. I just didn't think about it. And yeah, this is kind of awkward for Diggersby. This match plays out for quite some time. They finally bug buzz me here. I swap in, go for the X-Scissor here. 2 X-Scissors will easily knock down the Obstagoon. The opponent's getting pretty close to the move, so we fire this move straight away. And we can basically still get to a discharge on the Spider. So had I just went for discharge immediately, I could have taken this out very, very quickly and been done with this match, but good games well played to the opponent there. If you get a Kingdra lead, it's very awkward, but it is playable somewhat. Now in the next match here, we have a Vigoroth. Now, 9 out of 10 times they go for Body Slam here. They can go for Rock Slide. If you have decent IVs, you certainly live the move. The opponent goes for an aggro swap into Jellicent. Typically, Vigoroth leads do stay in and play it out. In this video, you'll see a lot of different situations with the Vigoroth lead, where they went for double Body Slam, where they went for Rock Slide first time. You're going to see pretty much every way to play that lead out, so if you're having a little bit of trouble with Vigoroth lead, you can stay tuned and check that out. In a straight matchup of Vigoroth, it's a very neutral match. They have to go for a Rock Slide and a Body Slam to take you out. The opponent right here still needs to go for a Rock Slide. Body Slam does not KO, and at this point guys, we can get off another X-Scissor. I pause the turn, make sure that the opponent is not going to catch it, and they actually let it go. Right here, we have got a Charjabug in the back. I've been showcasing Diggersby in every team this week. Daddy Diggersby just absolutely obliterates Charjabug. I don't know why, but the opponent's forcing me to play this out. This is just so dominant. Like, yeah, finally they give up. I hate it whenever players play that out, bro. It's such a dominant matchup. GG's, thanks for playing. In the next one, we have a Talonflame lead. The opponent swaps out into a Licky. If they come in Licky, you come into Diggersby. Now, one need to know about this matchup is, if you get a Scorching Sands debuff on the first one, you can live 2 Power Whips. Or if you get it on the second one, you can live the second Power Whip. So you just let these moves go. They Body Slam, which is silly. You never beat a Diggersby, guys. It's just so bulky. You do not need to shield. Because like I said, we can easily live 2 Power Whips without getting farmed down if we get the debuff on the first move. We get the second debuff. It's basically going to give me a huge opportunity to overfarm. They go for Hyper Beam, so they're not even on that move. That's absolutely hilarious. We build up to 2 moves here. I might consider going for an undercharge here. I guess I look to get rid of the Licky, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to 4 and throw the Scorching Sands, and we're in a pretty decent position. This is single resisted. It still chunks the Talonflame. I can still 2 and throw another Scorching Sands. Diggersby is just so feckin' so good. As you can see here, we've got the Talonflame quite low. We even almost make it to another Fire Punch. By the way, the moveset on Diggersby I think has to be Fire Punch. I decided to come into Charjabug here, because I thought that they might throw that move, and I wanted to eat it there instead. I knew they would throw the flying move, not the fire move, instantly, because I do have a Pelipper with energy. In comes the Superior. I can shield, no shield, it doesn't really matter at this point. Pelipper's going to clean up here. Pelipper is a good lead, but also if you swap out at some point, it's a very good closer. We come into Pelipper here, we've got the energy. I CMP here on the move. I decide the opponent's just Brave Birded on Talonflame. They could just go for a Frenzy. This is game over no matter what way I play it. I'm going to Shield the Leaf Tornado. The opponent realizes the game's over, and that's good games. So if you do happen to get a Licky, come straight into Diggersby, go straight for your Scorching Sands. Trevenant leads awkward, but they come into a Quagsire. What you need to know about this matchup is, you cannot survive a Stone Edge if they are Shadow, but if they're non-Shadow, you can live the Stone Edge. Not only do you live it, but you live it comfortably enough where they can't mud-shot you down. So this Quag right here knows this is a pretty negative matchup unless they bait. I decide I'm not messing about anymore. Stone Edge me daddy, they go for another bait, absolute psycho here. So Diggersby versus Quag. It's a pretty neutral matchup. 2 Scorching Sands knockout, 2 Aqua Tails just about downed. We go for this move right here. Unfortunately, they just had so much energy. I failed to catch the move. I decide, okay, I have to let it go. I'm going to come back in with the Flying Toilet here. I'm going to go for Hurricane, just to absolutely guarantee the knockout. And I realise, yeah, maybe that was a little bit overkill. So I decided to go for an undercharge, failed to do so. And they actually come back into their Trevenant here. I'm going to go for Weather Balls, because Weather Balls plus Wing Attacks should be enough to win this match. The opponent calls it, which is a great call by them. So I'm basically going to start spamming Weather Ball. The opponent probably lets this go, but they actually shield the second Weather Ball quite interestingly. The opponent's building up to 2 moves. So what I'm thinking here is, I'm going to build up, and I'm going to try and catch the second Seed Bomb. We catch the second Seed Bomb on the Charjabug. And we're basically hoping it's not like a fire type in the back that's going to completely destroy me. It is Whiscash. In the zeros with Whiscash, we should be able to get off 2 X-Scissors with that energy lead. So we should be very, very fine here. We live as Scald from this range. They have to go double Mud Bomb. As you can see, we just about live this on 1 HP, and we do get off the X-Scissor. This will get them super low. I do have energy banged on the Pelipper as well, and of course they only know resisted moves, so good games well played to the opponent. You won't see too many Trevenant leads these days, because the normal types are out in full force. Trevenant's a little bit tricky to run in this current meta, and now we have quite an interesting one. So whenever I see Skeledirge lead and a Cordilli safe swap, I automatically assume it's going to be Ferrothorn in the back, so I'm playing under that assumption. I come into my Charjabug right here. Charjabug has a decent match into Ferrothorn, but it doesn't do very well into the opponent's lead, so I just want to get this out here. I want to try to get rid of the Cordilli. I'm going to try my best to do 2 and fro for good timing. However, the opponent is just spamming at moves left, right and center. It's kind of hard to throw in good timing here. I 1 and fro, which is not optimal, but it's decent enough timing. X's are coming through, that doesn't knock out. If I go for 1 and fro again, the opponent will outpace me to the move, so I have to throw it here. The opponent decides to shield, and I'm fairly happy with this. I'm assuming it's going to be Ferrothorn in the back, so I'm thinking Diggersby with shields down beats the fire type in the lead, and also Pelipper with Hurricane can do very, very well into the Ferrothorn. I'm going to try and go for a 7 and fro, and I think I'm going to look to try and go for a 1 and catch here. I go for the 1 and catch, but the opponent pauses the turn, so that's kind of annoying. They go for Power Whip here, which is good. I decide to go straight for the Weather Ball, which will pretty much not knock out, but it'll put them into a farm down range. We come into Diggersby, the opponent comes into Skeledirge, and that's basically game over. So if you see a fire type in the lead and you see a Cordilli safe swap, it is probably another grass in the back. The opponent comes into this thing. I make a silly, silly swap here. I should have came into my Diggersby. I was playing this team for the first time, and yeah, Charjabug just gets destroyed by Diggersby. This is kind of annoying, but one thing I sort of realised after the fact is that they might be trying to draw out the Diggersby. It could be a double electric team, so this might actually work out to my favour. If it's going to be this, it could be like a Lantern, a Stunfisk in the back. In either case, Charjabug does fine into those. It was definitely a mistake coming into this Pokemon here. So what I'm going to do at this point, I've got the opponent low, I've got a shield off them, I'm going to go for a massive, massive farm. Charjabug is decently bulky, so we're not going to be able to farm it the whole way down. I decide I'm just going to keep some health on this thing. I'm not going to get too much more energy. It's probably not worth getting this super low. I still have a shield advantage, so we just need to hope it's not Lantern, basically. If it's Stunfisk, Pelipper can somewhat deal with it with Weather Ball. We are going to go for another Scorching Sands. I'm going to let this move go, because at this range, Diggersby can deal with any electric type without shielding this Vigoroth here. So that's fine, we're going to go for this move, see what the opponent wants to do, and I come into the Pelipper here. The opponent actually does come into a Stunfisk. You're about to see here that up a shield and up energy, we're perfectly fine. 2 Weather Balls does not quite knock out, however we can look to basically shield up this move, and I think I can maybe just about outpace to another 2 here. I'm going to go for 2 and fro. Pretty much if I can get shields down, Diggersby can take care of everything. The opponent's refusing to give up their final shield, and at this point, I could let it go and farm down with Diggersby. I think the opponent will insta-swap though. I'm going to farm this time with the toilet, and we basically just need to get to 2 moves. I throw this move immediately, and I'm going to throw the next one immediately, and that should be game over. Even if the opponent does take me out here, Diggersby will still get to a move. I decide to swap out one off the move, just to basically force their energy, because I think the opponent would be getting very close to back-to-back moves. We go straight for this move on CMP. I think the opponent was anticipating the catch, so well played by them. It comes down to a very close game at the end, CMP for the win. Good games to the opponent. Now, hopping into the next battle, we have a Whiscash lead. Fantastic lead. The opponent comes into their Mantine. So what you need to know about this matchup is, you need to throw at some point. If they go for an Ace the first time, and a Water Pulse the second time, you do start getting very low. So right here, I go for the X Scissor. Right before they get to the move. If they get off that Water Pulse, it actually might take me out from here, or come very close. And Charjabug's energy into Whiscash is nowhere near insignificant. This really adds up after a while. If the opponent wants to get any extra energy, which they most likely do, considering I've got a Water Flyer against their Ground Water, a very, very hard matchup for them, they're just going to be taking a lot of damage. We come back into the Flying Toilet, the opponent comes into a Charjabug, and this is just absolute curtains. Good games, well played. So I don't want to showcase these battles too much. Again, I want to try to help you guys learn this team. That's why I'm showcasing this, even though it's already been showcased, so I'm not going to sort of show any unnecessary stuff. Right here, I go for the Weller Ball bait. The opponent overfarms a lot, they make a very nice call there, and just let that move go. Oftentimes, if you're playing good players, they will call the Hurricane. They go straight for Stone Edge, which is amazing, and I'm going to go straight for this next Water Ball. I'm going to undercharge slightly. I could have undercharged slightly more and got more of a farm down. That's perfectly fine. We're down a shield, but we do have alignment. If the opponent comes into an electric type, I'm going to come straight into my Diggersby. I probably should have went into my own Charjabug, but going into my own Charjabug down a shield is a little bit awkward. I realise that I can come in with Diggersby, the clock is still misaligned, and if they come back into Chesnaught, which by the way is on SmackDown, it's going to take them forever to get to a move. I will live a move off Chesnaught, and yeah, of course we have Fire Punch spam. That's why I like Fire Punch and Mudshot. 5-4 to the Fire Punches, 6-6-5 for the Scorching Sands. So very, very good pacing, and yeah, we can just spam these moves out. I do, I think, a to and fro here to try to take out the Chesnaught. That takes them out. I'm trying to be able to 1 and swap. So I 1 and swap, which means that later on, I can 1 and throw the move. Whenever you're using a 2-turn move versus a 4-turn move, you can do 1 and swap and not take the damage, meaning that if you're 1 away from the move, you can 1 and throw the move later. Either way, guys, we just have too much in the bank for the opponent here. I'm still up a shield. The opponent tries to CMP at the top left. I think I was going to go for a BM discharge. Good games to the opponent there. And next game we have the Chicken Nugget. The Chicken Nugget here, this is an annoying lead because you never know what they're going to go for. They could go for the Brave Bird. They shield the first move, and I decide here like, oh, this is so annoying. Even though they're shielding the first move, which is normally an indication that they want to go for a bait, I decide to respect it. The opponent comes into double. I'm expecting them to be in Wild Charge. We YOLO the Hurricane, and we're going to look to go for a 1 and swap. I'm hoping and praying the opponent goes for a Wild Charge here. However, the opponent's on Double Kick, which is a fighting move. It does not add up too much. It's not like counter. It's a non-stab, and yeah, these body slams are definitely going to add up here. But Pidgeot has such a good matchup into Diggersby where, like, if they get me very low, I don't necessarily mind it. I want to keep my Charjabug alive for the Pidgeot. That's why I didn't want to bring it into the double. And yeah, we're going to start spamming out Fire Punches here. You're going to see here that these Fire Punches are going to start adding up. If the opponent does not throw their move soon, they actually come into a Skeledirge for an absolutely insane unnecessary catch. I'm an overfarming Andy. We get off this move right here, and I'm going to stay in and force the opponent to further energy. The opponent stays in to further energy, and that's basically GG's. I've not misaligned my clock. I come in with Pelipper. I can take any move here. I actually just 4 and throw just to get rid of it here. See if the opponent wants to shield or anything. They let it through. I'll just come in here with, or stay in with the Pelipper, force the opponent for energy. See if they're on Feather Dance or Aerial Ace. They're on Ace, that's perfectly fine. I come into my Charjabug, start committing to the farm down, and it's good games. So Pidgeot lead, a little bit awkward, but definitely manageable. Vigoroth lead is by far the most common lead I've seen. We're going to... Here's how I like to play this matchup, right? I know shield the first move, the opponent will throw before I get to the Hurricane. The vast majority of the time, Pelippers go for baits, right? So the opponents don't always expect you to go for the Hurricane straight away. If you call the opponent's bait, they are sometimes incentivized to let the move go. So right here, I think the best play is to go for the Hurricane right now. Weller Ball does not knock out. I could go for 2 Weller Balls, which is safe, but yeah, the opponent lets it go at this point. We get a CMP tie, and we're basically taking care of this. So you can beat this in the ones. Now the opponent comes into a Toxapex. I have 2 answers to it, so I swap out into my Charjabug. I'm thinking here, the opponent might have double weak to Electric in the back. So we'll see what the opponent's doing here. The opponent goes for Sludge Wave most likely. I decide, like, I'm going to respect this move. It's going to hurt a lot. I think they're weak to Electric in the back, and I'm going to start committing to this farm down here. I actually go for an X-Scissor last second, because I don't want to take any extra damage. And if the opponent shields, I can just double move it here. In comes a Poliwrath here. I go for free and throw. I think the opponent's at the move now. So I decide they win CMP. I'm going to swap out into the Pelipper here. Unfortunately, I can't make a Hurricane, but I just didn't want to risk the CMP. Now at this point, it's a little bit awkward. I'm going to come into the Charge Bug and force the energy, and at that point a Fire Punch will do. The opponent goes for the extra. This was basically game over anyway. They can't just blind throw an Icy Wind, because you never know what's going to come in. But yeah, good games to the opponent there. Furthorn lead is a very awkward lead. Sometimes I like to stay in and go for the Hurricane. I tried to go for a 7 and catch, which would be before they get to the Thunder. That definitely would have been nice. You sort of do have two answers to the Furthorn in the back. So yeah, I think it's fine to swap out that matchup. You don't necessarily have to play it out. We've drawn out the Skeledirge, which is nice, and they do go for a Shadow Ball. I have a bunch of energy in the Pelipper here. I'm going to go for, let's see, oh, I could have thrown the move there. I'm letting this go, I guess. Disarming Voice, I guess that only could have been a Disarming Voice. We go for 2 and throw here. We're throwing off the Weather Ball, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do here. I go for a 1 and swap. I do catch the move, but the silly thing here is the opponent only has to go for Power Whips. So I'm basically just feeding my Diggersby to this. So swapping out a Furthorn can get a little bit hairy. We can look to one-shot it here, and they come into a Kingdra. Guys, Kingdra is probably the most difficult thing for this team. It is very, very awkward, especially whenever the opponent has like a 100% guaranteed debuff chance. It just makes this match really, really awkward. Octazooka, the opponent gets a debuff, so I just immediately top left. If you do run this team and you do run into Shadow Kingdra, expect it to be awkward. Now let's see how we play out this Vigoroth lead. I'm going to farm up, farm up, farm up. The opponent throws just before I get to the move. Every time I call it, you live a Rock Slide. If you've got a good Pelipper, they go for Rock Slide this time. And I'm going to look to overfarm and go for Weather Balls. If they Rock Slide me, I go for Weather Balls. If they Body Slam me, I go for Hurricane usually. In comes the Flying Toilet. This is kind of annoying. I maybe could have went for an X-Scissor, but I decided to commit to the farm down. Because if they come back into... They go for Hurricane, which of course will do a lot. If they come into Vigoroth again, I can do a ton of damage, and as we've seen earlier, we can just do so much to the Whiscash. Like, free X-Scissors gets this pretty much taken out, right? The opponent is forced to further move here, and I think I live any one move here, so the opponent's in a very tricky spot now. Skull does not knock out, they do not even get the debuff, they go for a Snipe, and at this point, I'm very happy to let this go. All of the opponent's energy's gone, I still get to multiple moves on Pelipper, we can get to 2 Weather Balls here. Basically, my goal is to get the shields off the opponent. This is still very tricky. I make a very heads-up play here and come into Diggersby. You might be thinking, why not just go for an extra move? Because if they let it go, it gets very, very awkward. So, I decide to come in here, go for a farm down. The Whiscash is very, very low. I can farm this the whole way down, and basically go for double Scorching Sands. The opponent makes it to a last second move. So here's what we have to do. We need to get off both our moves on the Whiscash. The opponent's not at a move, so we go for Scorching Sands number 1. This will look to get the shield. Scorching Sands number 2. Again, shield or knockout. There's no need to bait, of course, here. If I had have baited, I would have probably got to a third move here. The opponent ends up panicking. I think they double up here on moves, and then look to throw their move. I've got a Weather Ball banked, and that's what I decided to do there. I decided that I'll get the Vigoroth low. I wanted to get shields off them initially. They no-shielded the first move, so I had to make a readjustment. Because if I throw that move and they just let me take them out, it's really, really awkward. So I keep that energy and decide that they're low enough to Mudshot down. That was my win con. So in this game we had a Toxapex lead. For the most part, Chargebug is the safe swap, because there's not that many Pokemon that completely wall Chargebug, and Diggersby is just much better as a closer than a safe swap. The opponent meets us here with Vigoroth, which is pretty fine for Chargebug up energy. As you're seeing here, we can actually probably get both shields off the opponent. I still live a Rock Slide right here. The opponent, like an absolute silly sausage, goes for a Body Slam. I go for this move right away. So we're basically getting alignment, or we're getting a shield off the opponent. The opponent comes back into Toxapex, which is making me think they might be super weak to it. They come into Obstagoon to catch the discharge. It's funny how people are using Obstagoon because the double confusion teams are very popular now. Obstagoon absolutely walls them, and of course is cross-chop for things like Vigoroth. Vigoroth still beats it because counter's double super effective, but yeah, Obstagoon's basically taken care of here. They can get as many boosts as they want in this matchup here. It's not really going to help. I can still take another move, this is perfectly fine. I pretty much just want to get a Hurricane, just so I can end this match here. We farm this the whole way down. We're going to YOLO the Hurricane. The opponent probably thinks this is the hardest hitting move left in the game. Well, unfortunately for them, I've got an entire bulky bunny in the back. They're going to throw off a dying brine, of course, just because, why not? This is like 20%, does absolutely nothing. They're going to need another like 4 of those. In the next match, we have the Kingdra lead again. This is by far the most difficult lead for this team. I think you almost have to beat it. The opponent plays to a CMP tie that they do win, which is quite interesting, and go for Octazooka. We do live in Octazooka, so this is kind of awkward. Let's see, can we make it to this and the Weather Ball? The opponent actually lets that go and comes into Charjabug. Now we have amazing alignment here. We have Diggersby on this thing. I'm guessing that the opponent has played this match out a few times, and the Pelipper usually goes for the bait. In comes Poliwrath, in comes Charjabug, and this is GG's. This is one of the few times I actually beat this team. It's just such a hard lead. I do highly recommend that you probably should go for the bait every time, because that's typically the best way to beat it. But we're going to have another chance to look at it here. It's Kingdra lead once again. I hated seeing this so much, man, because this thing was just debuffing me so often. This time I try to come straight into Charjabug, and they come into Stunfisk. So here's the thing, like, on my entire team, I don't have an answer to Kingdra, bro. It does really well into everything. So getting alignment doesn't help me. What I need is a shield advantage or energy lead. I think the opponent plays this out very smart. Stunfisk has a pretty good matchup here, but you know, Charjabug can fight back pretty well. And the thing for them is, they can just fight this out. They get me very low, I can get them very low, but ultimately they will outpace me. And yeah, there's just no way I win this match, unfortunately. The opponent gets a complete farm down that absolutely sucks. Thinking the opponent might go for a blind discharge, I decided to come into Diggersby. And what I was tempted to do here was to swap back into Pelipper and take the Mud Bomb. I decided not to because I think Diggersby with energy is my win con against the Goodra, or sorry, not the Goodra, the Kingdra. So yeah, we take these 2 moves, back in comes the Kingdra. I go straight for Scorching Sands, praying and hoping for a debuff. We do not get it here, I don't think, and we come into Pelipper again. In comes Toxapex, so we do draw this out of the back. I'm not sure how much this helps me drawing this out. I'm trying to decide here, like, how do I want to take care of Kingdra now? I go for Hurricane on this does a lot. And I think, like, 2 Shield Diggersby is the play. The opponent goes for Brine. I guess not wanting to allow me to overfarm too much. And not allowing Diggersby to get energy. Unfortunately here, that just kind of sucks for me, because the opponent gets a juicy farm. So basically what I need to happen is for no debuff to happen, pretty much. I've got 2 shields, I've got 1. I do not get a debuff here. I would love to get a debuff on the opponent, that would really help me here. The match is almost depending on it, and I also need them to not debuff me. I don't get a debuff, and we'll see what the opponent does. So we've got their final shield. We definitely make it to another move, and the opponent gets the debuff. So unfortunately, guys, if I did not get this debuff, I would have won the match. I lost to a coin flip here, because as you can see, they're in very, very low HP. A good game to the opponent. That Pokemon is super annoying for my team. And once again, we have another Vigoroth lead. We'll see how it plays out this time. Again, I normally do full send the Hurricane. Yeah, we call the move. The opponent goes for Body Slam here. What you need to do in this matchup here is CMP the move. Right, you have to CMP this move, because the opponent will live on 1 HP if you don't CMP the move. The opponent comes into Mantine. I should probably go for bait here, but I thought the opponent might want to call it here. Let's see what they do. They actually do, of course, go for the shield, and yeah, they're going to farm me the whole way down. Now, Mantine has a very terrible matchup into Charjabug. I think the opponent might go straight Water Pulse here, just because they have so much energy. They do go for Water Pulse, and they come into the Quagsire. A little bit tricky, but I am up energy. I do have a full health Diggersby in the back, and I'm basically looking to see what the opponent wants to do. I try to catch the Stone Edge, and we're pretty much sacrificing Diggersby at this point anyway. If the opponent's on Mud Bomb, this is a very good matchup for me. The opponent is an Aqua Tail, which is the recommended moveset. We can easily take 2 Aqua Tails, but of course the third one will get us here. And we go straight for the Scorching Sands, probably hoping to get a debuff, get the opponent's final shield, and we should be basically fine here. I'm going to go for Fire Punch. The opponent CMP's on the move. That's perfectly fine. I could get it off, but it's not really worth it. Aqua Tail coming in. I'm going to go straight for the X Scissor. The opponent makes a really nice catch on the Mantine. However, Charjabug wins CMP. I can basically look to farm this the whole way down. And yeah, the second my Charjabug got set up on the Mantine, it was basically game over. So winning the lead really helped me this match, because if the opponent got their Mantine on my Diggersby, it was pretty much game over for me. Quagsire on this would have been pretty bad. Mantine and Diggersby would have been pretty bad. So how you play out the Vigoroth mirror in the lead really determines how the match goes. Just to quickly explain it to you guys one more time. Vigoroth lead. I normally just go for the Hurricane on CMP on the second Body Slam. The opponent normally throws after 8. Make sure you CMP the Hurricane. If not, guys, you can just Weather Ball spam through it. You can win it in the 1s by going straight Weather Ball, or you can try to win the 0s, right? Just CMP the Hurricane. Most of the time, if you call the bait, they just let the move go. So I think it's pretty safe to do that. If you're playing a really good player, they probably let it go. if you're playing, let's say, some lower skill players or people who are super weak to the Pelipper in the back, they may want to shield it. But against Vigoroth lead, it's always better to get alignment, because they have Vigoroth lead with RPS backline, right? So you try to take alignment if you can. Anyway guys, have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Drop a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts on this team in the comment section down below. With this team, I had some very positive days. Today was my worst day with it, and I went 13 out of 25. So still a positive day. I misplayed a few matchups. In that final set, I went 1-4. Unfortunately, I just kept seeing the Kingdra team. It just kept running for me, man. It was very, very difficult to deal with, but super strong team. I think this team originated with Snots. Battle Bill was running it. I've seen a few people at High Elo's running it. Of course, Yonka showcased it yesterday, and it's a team I've been running for a few days. So this team may become quite well known. People may start to recognize the team. So you can look to switch it up a little bit. You could run like a Mantine lead instead of Pelipper. You could run a different Mudboy instead of Diggersby. Try to switch it up a little bit if you want to. Those adjustments could make a difference. But in any case guys, hope you all enjoyed. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time for a brand new video.